Today, at a pivotal moment with a vibrant ecosystem that includes powerful exporters, a dynamic SME sector, and a flourishing startup scene. The building blocks are in place for a truly transformative economic leap, yet challenges do persist, from access to finance and exposure to global market risks to also scaling limitations for startups. Now, our discussion today will focus on how trade facilitation, financial innovation, and regional integration, particularly through institutions like the ITFC, can help unlock new opportunities for Algerian businesses, whether be it big or small. I am honored, ladies and gentlemen, to be joined by distinguished speakers representing key sectors for this equation. We're talking about large industry, startup, finance, and trade facilitation. Without further ado, please, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome my panelists, and starting with Mr. Alp Topkoglu, the executive member of the board of directors for Tosali Algérie. Please welcome him to the stage. A round of applause. Let's be dynamic, guys, please. And you guys can come a bit closer to the stage, so we can enjoy the panel better. So I invite everybody from the back to come a bit closer to the stage. Welcome. Without further ado, let's go to the second panelist that I am honored to have with me today, Mr. Anis Rahabi, the general manager of Algerian Startup Fund. Mr. Rahabi, please, under your applause, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome. Please join me. We also have Mr. Nazim Nordali, the Chief Operating Officer at ITFC. Mr. Nordali, please, welcome. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And last but not least, I am absolutely honored to have Mr. Zohir Laish, General Manager at CAGEX Algeria. Please join me on stage. Bienvenue, Monsieur le Directeur Général de la CAGEX, Monsieur Zohir Laish. تفضل. And this is my panel. I am happy to have everyone here. Okay. Monsieur Laish, merci. So before we start, let's adjust the mics. Okay. This mic will follow you for the entire hour. So, Mr. Rahabi, you have this one, right? And then you have this one. Oh, you also have these mics. Okay, but whichever feels comfortable. And, Monsieur Laish, voici votre micro. Voilà. Allez, we can start now. All right. Welcome, everybody, and looking forward to this lively discussion. Now, this topic is one of great importance indeed. Let's dive right into the discussion with Mr. Topkoglu. As one of Algeria's largest industrial exporters, how do you navigate the challenges of entering new markets, particularly within the OIC and African regions? Now, what kind of support mechanisms do large exporters like Tosali requires to better mitigate trade-related risks?
Thank you. First of all, when we started our investments in Algeria, like about 14 years ago, we started with iron rebar production. So in the meantime, Algeria was a net steel importer, and there were some shortages in the market. First, we started with import substitution here. Then we continued our investments and integrated our facilities. Today, we are producing a variety of products like iron rebar, wire rod, hot rolled coil, tubes, and from next year, cold rolled coils, galvanizing sheets, color coating sheets, which will be for special automotive grade products, which means that today when you take a look at the Algerian situation, when Algeria was a net steel importer 10 years ago, today it has become a special automotive grade steel exporter country. Exactly. So this is an important conversion. This year we are expecting a $1 billion export revenue, which will be followed, according to us, $1.5 and $2 billion within 2 years. So we are standing as the largest exporter after Sonatrach today in Algeria. As per our trade facilities, of course, we do a lot of trade with European Union, United States, Southern America, Western Africa. We do a lot of inter-Africa trade as well, especially with Western Africa. Our inter-African trade is approximately around $500 million today, either import or export side. Of course, while we're working with some export risky countries, we work a lot with my friend here, Mr. Laish Kajex. I think this year we will do together more than $500 million export trade.
Wow.
Together with Kajex. It's a very nice partner for us. But of course, we work with all banks in the market. Of course, via letter of credits or other, we have to use all trade instruments in the market after with these volumes. But we do a lot export credit insurance with Kajex as a big partner for us.
I'm looking forward to talk a little bit more about your partnership between Tosali and Kajex. But now I'd like to go to Mr. Rahabi. Startups in Algeria often struggle with limited incubation and access to pivotal or private capital. From your perspective, Mr. Rahabi, at the Algerian Startup Fund, what are the most effective tools and partnerships, including those with development finance institutions, to scale these ventures?
Thank you very much. I don't know if you can hear me well. Yeah, thank you very much. So first of all, I'll start very quickly presenting the ASF. So the ASF is a VC, it's a venture capital entity, with shareholders are the 6 public banks. It was created back in October 2020, and it actually currently counts more than 100 startups in its portfolio. So we are pretty diversified in terms of exposure to sectors. We don't have any specific, criteria related to the sector itself for the time being, but this is moving on with time. So for now, all the initiatives that have been taken, notably by the Ministry of Startups and Knowledge Economy, was to create a proper climate for startups in order to be incubated. From this raised the notion of Kickstart program, which is a program composed of public spending, so public spending into private and public incubators. All right? So this has given quite good results. Now we are working with these incubators in order to make sure that these startups are ready for the market and not only in theory within their project itself. So hopefully with collaboration, extending collaboration with multilaterals and notably the ISDB, the idea would be to create common programs in order to prepare these startups for eventually international markets and get all the proper education and support from these institutions in order to be ready as well for the international market, not only the Algerian one.
What a tremendous job. What a tremendous job indeed the Algerian Startup Fund is doing to not only theoretically prepare the startups, but prepare them to be practical. Now I'd like to move to you, Mr. Nordali from the ITFC. The ITFC recently expanded into Algeria with the onboarding of SLM Bank. Could you elaborate on ITFC's roadmap for Algeria and how tools like trade finance and risk-sharing mechanisms will help banks better serve SMEs and startups?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Maybe I can say a little about what
Yes.
ITFC is about.
Yes.
From the name ITFC, we mean International Islamic Trade Finance Corporation. It's the trade finance arm of the Islamic Development Bank Group that exists to do only short-term import, export finance, supply chain finance, invoice discounting, and all the trade finance instruments. So we exist now for the last 17 years as ITFC, and over during that period, we've been financing trade for the tune of over $82 billion all over the Islamic member countries. But as a function, trade finance, it exists in IDB since 1977 when IDB was established 50 years ago. It was a function as a department, and at that time, IDB was the first multilateral that was doing trade finance from the very beginning, the only multilateral. Others joined later, like the World Bank to IFC, EBRD, etc. So why? Because excuse me. In Islamic finance or Islamic economy, we recognize that trade finance is an integral component of socio-economic development of any country. And that recognition led us to be more and more involved into trade finance. But let me say that today we're working with our Salam Bank is one today it's an letter of credit confirmation line to Salam Bank, and it's one step forward. But under ITFC, but before ITFC, until 2003, we were involved in trade financing in Algeria until the government decided to not to allow any or to stop any foreign borrowing or dollar financing. But otherwise, we were very strong as IDB in trade finance in Algeria for until 2003. We were doing a lot of financing, import financing of strategic commodities such as palm oil, sugar, wheat, cotton, optic fibers, and other raw materials strategic for the economy at that time. And now we're restarting, now in a way reset the finance, the relationship. We would like also to contribute to the economy of Algeria through at least to facilitating trade through confirming letter of credit. Let me say in advance, what we do at trade finance is very simple. It's firstly about international trade or cross-border trade. It's about somebody want to buy, a buyer want to buy a good from a supplier in another country, and somebody has to transport it, and somebody has to pay for it. So we are the one paying for it, all right? But before you have trade finance, you need to be able to create the trade, all right? So what do you mean by create a trade? Mean you create access to market. So you need to be able to make two persons or two companies to come together to agree. One to agree on the price, the quality, etc., and the other one agree to sell it at that price and that quality. Simple, but sometimes very difficult to achieve.
But not very simple, yeah.
So we in ITFC, we have two pillars of activities. The trade finance I just mentioned earlier, but another pillar supporting the trade finance, and very important, is the trade development, trade facilitation, and capacity building. So we need to create access to market. In many other countries, we try to do that first in alignment with the idea of building or enhancing trade of the member countries. So what do you mean by creating access in how to get the people to go together to try to buy? So therefore we invest and implement different type of activities under what we call trade facilitation, trade development, such as we do B2B, business matching event. We also contribute to exhibition on goods from member country to other. We also provide capacity building for export promotion agencies from member countries to be able to export their product, and create all sorts of networking activity, also trying to help member countries to work on how to overcome or removing non-tariff barriers. These are challenges also to trade. And we do that through different programs. How to get business to grow is through these activities are done through what we call flagship program. One of them is Arab Africa Trade Bridge Program, which is a flagship program of ITFC that we started in 2017 as a multi-country, multi-stakeholder, multi-year program to boost the trade from the name is between Arab world and the African world. So we do that through all the different type of instruments for trade facilitation. And we are going to have this year, sometime in September, through the IATF exhibition that will take place in Algiers. So the program will be one of it where we sponsoring this event in order to boost the trade between Africa. Very important here in Algeria that this is a country of high potential for export. All right, very high potential for export, and there's a lot of good produce here, and competitiveness of the good exists. So what we need is how to put the two people together. And simple thing, but need a lot of investment, and all the institutions are hard to get involved. And Algeria, for example, we want to be involved there through LC confirmation or export invoice discounting, where we can help Algerian exporters to go and explore new market, accompany them. While we can provide also financing as a buyer credit to the importer to buy from Algeria. These are some of the ways, not all, where we can help to contribute to create access to market. Thank you.
Tremendous job, and we're definitely looking forward to see the ITFC's role on the ground in collaboration with Algeria. As you said, it's simple, but it requires a lot of work, which we're definitely willing to put in. Now, allow me to speak to French to Mr. Laïch. So remind everybody that we have translation kits available here. Monsieur Laïch, du point de vue d'une institution de garantie et d'assurance des exportations, quel type de solutions d'atténuation des risques sont actuellement disponibles pour les exportateurs et les PME algériens? Et permettez-moi de vous demander aussi comment ces outils peuvent-ils être déployés ou développés?
Merci pour
et je vous en prie, monsieur.
la question. Tout d'abord, il faudrait savoir
Juste si vous pouvez juste rapprocher le micro. Parfait. Voilà.
Il faudrait savoir que nous avons pratiquement, selon la législation,
Voilà, juste devant. Parfait.
selon la législation qui a mis en avant la CAGEX, nous avons deux missions principales. La première, c'est évidemment la plus apparente, la plus directe, c'est celle d'assurer les exportateurs quand ils sont dans une opération d'exportation de biens et de services. Ça, c'est la première, la plus directe. La deuxième mission, et c'est celle-là qui est extrêmement importante, qui va certainement aller dans le sens de votre question, c'est celle de promouvoir les exportations. Et pour les promouvoir, les exportations en Algérie, comme ailleurs d'ailleurs, à l'instar de tout ce qui se passe au niveau des assureurs crédits, nous allons vers les marchés, c'est ça le plus important pour nous, pour collecter le maximum d'informations à la fois sur les marchés, sur les acheteurs au niveau international. Pourquoi collecter tout cela? Collecter à la fois, avoir une idée sur le marché, une idée sur le plan économique, social, politique, notamment au jour d'aujourd'hui où la géopolitique devient un élément extrêmement important qui est analysé par les assureurs crédits. Donc on collecte cette information au niveau international. Ensuite, on ira vers les acheteurs de ce pays-là pour effectivement déterminer l'élément le plus important, le plus apparent, c'est celui de sa solvabilité. Il faudrait qu'il soit à même d'assurer effectivement le paiement des biens qu'il reçoit de ses partenaires internationaux à travers une opération d'exportation. Donc ces éléments-là constituent la matière première des assureurs crédits dans l'appréciation du risque. Pourquoi on le fait tout ça? Pourquoi on fait tout ça? Tout simplement, on fait tout cela. Ce n'est pas pour le plaisir de le faire, évidemment, vous l'avez compris. On fait tout cela pour le remettre entre les mains des exportateurs du pays, de l'Algérie, par exemple. Pour leur permettre d'apprécier correctement les risques auxquels ils seront confrontés dans une opération d'exportation à l'international, évidemment. Et donc, cela permet donc aux managers des entreprises privées, publiques, PME, quelle que soit la forme et la taille de l'entreprise qui se présente donc à la CAGEX et qui veut aller vers l'extérieur, vers les marchés internationaux, de leur permettre d'apprécier ces risques-là et de déterminer les mécanismes à travers lesquels ils peuvent le atténuer.
Atténuer.
Le mécanisme le plus direct, je reviens donc à notre métier de base, c'est l'assurance. L'assurance. Et dans l'assurance, nous avons deux éléments extrêmement importants qu'il faudrait regarder de près. C'est le risque commercial, l'insolvabilité de l'acheteur international, ça c'est le plus évident. Mais le plus important également, c'est le risque politique, les risques souverains.
Oui.
Ça c'est extrêmement important. Pourquoi? Parce que je disais tout à l'heure, j'ai parlé de la géopolitique, parce qu'aujourd'hui, nous savons pertinemment, surtout nous, les assureurs crédits, que la géopolitique prend une dimension extrêmement importante et par votre conséquence, ce risque-là politique
Oui.
devient extrêmement pénible ou extrêmement pesant sur la décision de l'exportation. Et si la CAGEX, comme les autres compagnies comme nous, couvre ce risque-là, et on le couvre, nous, en Algérie, en tout cas selon la nôtre, on le couvre au nom de l'État. On agit au nom de l'État dans le risque politique, évidemment. On est un intermédiaire entre, évidemment, le demandeur d'assurance et l'État. Et on agit pour justement atténuer ce risque politique qui, au jour d'aujourd'hui, devient un élément extrêmement important. Donc, à travers tous ces mécanismes-là, à travers ce que nous faisons au quotidien, il est clair que nous sommes à la fois un assureur, puisque, in fine, on va délivrer une assurance, une couverture, mais on est également régulateur des marchés. Pourquoi régulateur? Et ça n'apparaît pas, mais en réalité, on le fait indirectement. Pourquoi on est régulateur des marchés ou du commerce international? Parce que quand on agit et on détermine les acheteurs internationaux avec lesquels on a intérêt à travailler, pour tas de raisons, en prenant en charge évidemment les risques, ça veut dire tout simplement on évacue indirectement tout ce qui ne présente pas les standards admis au niveau international, évidemment, les standards admis pour faire donc du commerce international. Et donc, au niveau international, comme au niveau national, on intervient indirectement comme régulateur du commerce international. Voilà le rôle d'une institution comme la nôtre, la CAGEX, ce qu'elle fait, ce qui est apparent, le contrat d'assurance parce que c'est apparent, mais ce qui n'est pas apparent, c'est celui d'alimenter suffisamment en information commerciale les opérateurs nationaux pour qu'ils puissent aller vers le marché international en étant à l'aise, en étant sécurisés. Un autre aspect, et cette fois-ci on sort de ce cadre-là, c'est que nous allons indirectement vers la mise en relation, quand on va étudier les marchés, les acheteurs au niveau international, on va, in fine, arriver à mettre en relation les acheteurs internationaux, ce qui nous paraissent recevables au traitement donc avec un opérateur national. On met en relation l'acheteur international avec le producteur ou l'exportateur algérien. Ça, c'est extrêmement important. Que nous faisons, nous avons entamé cela, et nous le faisons de plus en plus. Mais évidemment, il faudrait que, parallèlement à tout cela, développer d'autres mécanismes pour nous permettre justement de le faire très bien. Donc, en dehors de ces aspects-là, de souscription, d'analyse, de collecte de l'information, de la constitution des banques de données, en dehors de tout cela, quand l'exportateur algérien a des problèmes au niveau international et quand il est assuré, surtout quand il est assuré, même quand il n'est pas assuré, on peut faire un travail avec lui, c'est que quand il est en face d'un problème d'insolvabilité d'un acheteur ou que l'acheteur n'arrive pas, l'acheteur international j'entends, n'arrive pas à répondre donc à ses obligations, n'arrive pas à payer tout simplement, nous nous substituons à l'exportateur algérien pour aller se mettre devant l'acheteur international et récupérer le paiement. Ça, nous le faisons, et nous le faisons au niveau international, là où l'opération a été réalisée, quel que soit l'endroit du globe où l'opération a été réalisée. Nous le faisons avec autant de facilité, par rapport à un exportateur évidemment, parce que nous appartenons à un réseau mondial d'opérateurs dans des opérations de ce genre. Et donc, nous avons les moyens et les ressources nécessaires pour aller et se substituer donc à l'exportateur national, pour aller justement vers la récupération son
Très bien, Monsieur Lahaye, je reviendrai sur vous, mais, vers vous, mais un travail immense effectivement que la CAJAX est en train de faire. We were talking about the importance of the CAJAX in facilitating the trade, the investment, or facilitating investors' integration here in Algeria. Now, I'd like to go back to you, Mr. Topokoglu. Now, in the face of rising tariffs and trade restrictions globally, now speaking, not just here, how are you repositioning your export strategies to maintain growth and market share? Do regional trade programs like the AATB offer a valuable solution to you?
Well, competition was always hard in the world, but today there is a brutal competition
Indeed.
in markets. From one side, after COVID, interest rates risen by central banks, which lowered consumption and demand in the world. From the other side, there is the excess capacity of China. So trade is more difficult than any time today in the world. So countries increase protections to protect their producers. Like European Union puts quotas, applies quotas to third countries. That we are today working with Algerian government how to increase country quotas of Algeria in order to boost our exportation through European Union. From the other side, there is the fact of United States and Donald Trump. We sleep at night. We don't know what to face in the morning.
Yeah.
So, but when he arrived, he put additional quotas. That was good for us because we were already imposed to custom tax to United States. Now, when he imposed to additional taxes to Mexico, Canada, to South Korea, that were exempted before from taxes, that has been an advantage for us. Now we increase our sales to United States. That was a good thing for us, what Trump did actually. But from our side, for Arabic and the African region, there is this Arabic League, which is an advantage for us to sell our products. We took advantage by our tube sales to Gulf countries of this. But from the other side, we are looking forward of the implementation of ZLECAf, Zone Libre-Échange Africaine, today, which will increase the trade between inter-African countries who are always at the losing part of the game, but which will give some support to African countries to trade each other and to boost their trade, vice versa. So we are expecting a lot from Algerian government to make right trade agreements with third countries to make us able to commercialize, to increase our sales even more.
We're looking forward to see that happen too, hopefully in the near future. Now, going back to you, Mr. Anis Rahabi, going back to the startup ecosystem, what lessons can you talk to us that you've learned so far from the fund's deployment, and how can future collaborations with players like the ITFC enhance support to Algeria's innovative ecosystem, which is flourishing in the last few years?
Thank you very much, Lemia. Before joining the ASF, I used to work in the banking sector, so investment banking and corporate banking in international firms. So have a pretty global idea, and I would say project as well, of what is the ASF today and what it could be in the future. Since joining the ASF, I'm seeing a lot of potential of growth locally, but as well abroad. So for the time being, startups are evolving in the Algerian ecosystem. We are pushing them to export services. However, we need as well to set up a quite clear regulatory framework in order to be able to support them abroad. how to join ISDB or other multilaterals on that. I would propose eventually to create, as a first step, a common VC, venture capital entity here in Algeria that would support these startups who are already business ready in Algeria, and create as well another JV abroad in order to support them in international markets. How did we get to this conclusion? Actually, depends on the nature of the activity of the startup itself and the sector they work in as well. So most of them are not producers, so they don't necessarily need to export. They can export services. But in terms of potential market size, it's much more beneficial to be present abroad and to be able to develop activity in international markets. So it's very important for us to be able to do this in the short term. In parallel as well, we are working based on the new regulation that was published a few days ago to set up in Algeria mutual funds.
Okay.
So mutual funds specific to startups, and that would be eventually sector specific. The idea would be to create a proper investment ecosystem in Algeria for startups. This will be open, of course, to the public to invest in, and it will bring even more energy and more capacity to the market to raise funds locally. In the meantime as well, we are working to create other VCs like ASF with partners that are for the time being public, I would say Groupe Telecom Algérie, Jezi, and other entities to create other VCs that will be focused, for example, on telecoms, AI, and specific sectors. But as well, we encourage privates to create their own VCs and invest properly in startups. We are totally ready to invest jointly in these startups and move forward together.
All right, very good luck with that, Mr. Rahabi. Now, moving on to you, Mr. Nazim Nordali. Can you talk to us a little bit about the ITFC's regional programs, such as the Arab Africa Trade Bridge, the AATB, and how can they be leveraged to be more effective in connecting Algerian businesses to wider OIC and African markets?
Thank you. I would before I talk about the AATB program, I would say, first of all, how do we help the member countries to penetrate, to create, again, access to market? In the IDB group, we have 3 entities that work for private sector. These are ITFC, then the one is ICD, you can see the names there, and ISEC. One is doing trade finance, ITFC. One is doing project finance for private sector, and ISEC is providing the insurance. So it creates an ecosystem where we can help member countries, private sector, to grow and support them to be able to grow and create capacity for their country and for export. So this is where we play a role. So when we work together in many countries, we bring impact, right? Where investment, private sector, put the trade, it create employment, it create contribution to GDP, it create foreign exchange reserve for the country, as well as lastly, the company making money also pay taxes, so the government is getting something out of it. So these are the main, I would say, immediate impact of what we do. So AATB, as I mentioned earlier, the Arab Africa Trade Bridge Program, right, is designed to actually as a South-South cooperation program. All the countries there are from the Arab world and from the Africa, the non-Arab African countries. What we try to do with that is, let's look how we can do business on ourselves, moving away from the traditional line of business where we all go and sell or buy from Europe, and then whatever we need, we buy from them, instead of buying from our neighbor, which may be doing the same thing. And in today's world, technology is not something that our member countries cannot obtain. We are having, including Algeria. And we can create also investment by in bringing partners from the Arab and Africa world. And mostly you will see a lot of investment coming from the Middle East to Africa and North Africa, even from like the case of Mr. Alp is from Turkey. So it's again an example of investment of a member country into another member country. Well, the idea of this type of investment is very convenient, very successful by proving that we, within the South-South cooperation, will bring capacity, and from there we export, and that's what they do in the country. So Arab Africa Trade is trying to do the same. Now, again, we need to do that, we need to create the environment for the trade to take place. So Arab Africa is one of the programs that we have put in place where we have partners. Countries are members of the program, but partners like ITFC, but the IDB and other bank, multilateral bank or regional bank like Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, BADIA, the Afrexim Bank also is part of it, the OPEC fund, OFID we call it, and the countries from Africa and Arab world, and it is growing the membership. What we are trying to do is to create that environment for us to be able to do the trade. So import and export. And what is important is how they can talk to each other and see what they can do together for that they can sell and buy and sell from each other. Now, Algeria, for me, is a country of big potential, all right? It's very clear. I don't have to explain what Algerian economy is about. Now, that potential can have a multiplier effect if we can bring the economic operators to go and explore the other market. And that's what AATB is about, put up the medium, the platform for that environment to happen, a conditional environment. And this is just one program. We have other programs that we have put in place. And also to mention that Algeria is also a member of what we call AFTIA's Aid for Trade Initiative for the Arab state. It's another program that we have in place for the Arab world. This is about creating capacity building, training, etc. And we have a few projects already implemented in Algeria that will help to build competitiveness of Algerian economy, some of the Algerian industrial sector, manufacturing sector that will create capacity for export. So it's very important that we have programs or projects that accompany the economic operator or private sector, whether it is corporate or it is SME, for them to be able to create, to facilitate the access to other market. Of course, there always be barriers, and that's what we exist to be able to find solutions, work together with the country, with the authorities, with the institution that is promoting export in the country, because we can't do it alone. We are here to bring our contribution. But if the countries therefore have to have this own also incentive to want to grow for it, and then we accompany them. And this is what happened in many other countries apart from Africa, where we do programs where we help countries in order to grow their economy through trade. Thank you.
Tremendous, Mr. Nourdali. Je reviens vers vous, Monsieur Zohair Laïch. Parlez-moi un peu de comment les institutions comme la CAGEX peuvent-elles travailler plus étroitement avec les banques, les startups et les acteurs internationaux comme ITFC, ici présent avec nous, pour réduire les risques liés à l'entrée sur le marché et attirer davantage d'investissements dans le secteur privé algérien.
Je pense que la meilleure façon de le faire, en tout cas pour nous, en tout cas sur l'air crédit, c'est de présenter le marché avec tous ses avantages et ses inconvénients, de manière très, très sérieuse. La meilleure des façons, c'est quand on observe un petit peu le marché algérien, particulièrement le marché algérien, c'est que nous avons en 2024 terminé l'année avec un PIB de presque de 4%, chose qui est qu'on voit pas partout. Et donc ça donne une idée au niveau de croissance que nous avons atteint et la qualité du marché ou des opérateurs que nous avons sur le marché algérien, quelle que soit leur taille et leur forme. Deuxième niveau important, c'est la réduction, et de manière assez substantielle, que nous n'avons jamais vu par le passé, c'est la réduction de l'inflation, qui a atteint en 2024 presque 5%, chose qu'on ne voyait pas. Très bien. C'est vrai qu'il reste des efforts à faire pour une croissance encore plus importante, celle qui est prévue pour 2025 par les institutions comme de Bretton Woods, la famille prévoit pour 2025 une croissance de 3,9 du PIB. C'est pas mal, mais on peut faire mieux. On peut faire mieux compte tenu de pas mal de paramètres. La position géographique ou géopolitique, ou la géographique, si vous voulez, de l'Algérie, la position, l'importance du pays lui-même. C'est pratiquement le 9e pays en termes de superficie au monde, le premier en Afrique, une population également jeune, qui reste jeune, éduquée, et donc il y a des atouts énormes qu'on peut utiliser et faire évoluer correctement. Maintenant, quelle est la part de CAGEX, si j'ai bien compris la question, dans ce système ou l'écosystème de manière générale? Ce que nous faisons à l'exportation, nous le faisons au niveau local. Puisque nous, quand on assure quelqu'un, on assure quelqu'un contre un ensemble d'acheteurs, on choisit, en tout cas on lui propose, nous, des acheteurs qui répondent à certaines normes. Donc tous ceux qui ne répondent pas aux standards sont évacués, en tout cas évacués par la CAGEX. Si la CAGEX va suggérer à son partenaire pour lui dire qu'il faudrait évacuer, ils ne répondent pas aux standards. Donc on est en train indirectement de réguler ce marché au niveau local d'abord. Et donc cette régulation va in fine faire immerger que les meilleurs. Et ce que nous faisons au quotidien dans nos travaux, ça n'apparaît pas comme ça directement, mais nous le faisons sans le crier sur tous les toits. Ça, c'est important. Donc on est en train, indirectement ou directement, d'assainir un marché, donc faciliter l'investissement. On ne s'arrête pas à ce niveau-là. Quand on agit sur les exportations, quand on favorise le recours à l'exportation de manière très importante, parce qu'il ne faut pas oublier, en 2022, par exemple, le niveau des exportations hors hydrocarbures n'était même pas de 2 milliards de dollars. En 2 ans, il atteint 7 milliards. En 2023, on a atteint 7 milliards de dollars d'exportation hors hydrocarbures. Donc, pour dire que la marge ou le rythme avec lequel on peut évoluer est extrêmement important. Extrêmement important, surtout ce qui est apparent également, quand on examine la structure des exportations, c'est vrai qu'il y a des champions qui font du volume en termes d'exportation. Il y en a des champions assez il y en a un qui est avec nous aujourd'hui, oui. Mais il y en a d'autres. Et la liste commence à prendre de l'ampleur. Et ça, c'est un élément qui favoriserait, évidemment, quand on va vers l'exportation, ça veut dire tout simplement on est en train d'ouvrir le marché local. Quand on va de plus en plus vers le marché international, à travers donc des opérateurs, des champions, ça veut dire indirectement on est en train d'ouvrir le marché. Voilà comment la CAGEX peut agir, même si je le répète, elle ne le crie pas sur les toits, mais elle agit pour assainir une économie et pour favoriser, in fine, l'investissement. Alors, comment travailler avec des institutions comme l'ITFC? La première chose que, de mon point de vue comme ça, avec une question comme ça qui vient comme ça, sans prendre peut-être le temps de l'approfondir, la première des choses qui me vient à l'esprit, c'est l'échange d'informations. Je pense que c'est extrêmement important pour une institution financière comme la vôtre, pour connaître le marché, c'est d'échanger des informations. échanger l'information pour connaître le marché, ses acteurs, évidemment apprécier les risques. Et ça, on peut le faire dans les deux sens. Nous, par exemple, pour promouvoir des exportations et pour stimuler des exportateurs pour aller vers des marchés, on peut solliciter l'ITFC pour nous donner son point de vue sur les marchés, certes, surtout les marchés avec les opérateurs avec lesquels ils sont en affaires, pour solliciter leur avis sur ces acteurs-là, et donc pour amener les assurés ou les partenaires de CAGEX peut-être favoriser les acheteurs qui sont suggérés par une institution financière comme la vôtre. Voilà comment on imagine la relation avec des institutions comme l'ITFC.
Je suis certaine qu'avec réflexion et quand on s'approfondit, il y aura plusieurs d'autres moyens de collaborer que malheureusement nous n'aurons pas assez de temps aujourd'hui pour aborder. Ladies and gentlemen, time has flown by. I think I have time for the closing remarks. I'd like to go around my panel and I'd like you guys to have a quick call to action to wrap up this fruitful discussion. Starting with you, Mr. Topakoglu. A call to action. What would you like to see happen moving forward?
Sorry.
Just a call to action for trade. Hold on, let me just. So we were talking about trade facilitation, financial innovation, how we can integrate. So do you have something that you wish to see happen in the future, or just wrap up something we want to see to wrap up today's discussion?
Well, first. We thank you for this occasion to Islamic Development Bank that they were the first, they were with us when we started in Algeria. They were ensuring our investment in Algeria. Algeria needs, companies like us need more support of development banks like Islamic Development Bank, AFDB, IFC. We need very much support of these banks in order to be able to compete our competitors in Europe and other developed countries. So with this occasion, I thank you, Islamic Development Bank, for this occasion, and wishing them a lot of success. Good business in Algeria.
Inshallah, as we say in Algeria. Mr. Abto Pogoglu, Executive Member of the Board of Directors for Tosali Algerie, thank you very much. Mr. Anis Rahabi, General Manager of the Algerian Startup Fund. Any last words before we wrap up? Yes.
Thank you very much, Lemia. So just 3 points very quickly to wrap up everything. So the first item would be incubation, so common programs of incubation and acceleration. I'm also part of the board of directors of Algeria Venture. So common collaboration to develop common programs, eventually subsidy programs as well, with a specific thematic for the international market, right? Second one would be the constitution of common JVs, so common VCs, in order to give the opportunity to Algerian startups to invest abroad as being a subsidiary of an Algerian company abroad. Not only net exporters, we do already some export, but in terms of potential, having a subsidiary abroad is much better for the startups themselves and for the Algerian macroeconomic situation as well. And a third element would be very broad, so it's just a strategic cooperation on very specific topics that could be taken into consideration and worked together.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anis Rahabi. Moving on to you, Mr. Nazim Nordali, the COO of ITFC. Any last words, any call to action, anything you want to see happen since you're new here in Algeria?
I think we already started yesterday. So also today we signed a letter of intent to provide a line to the bank here, CPA, Crédit Populaire d'Algérie. So it's on the news today. And this is just a start on the providing line of confirmation for trade facilitation. But if you want trade to grow fast, you need to have digitalization of the trade system. That's where we are moving. if you want to create competitiveness on how to do business, how you get your export done fast, we need to digitalize all your trade documentation, or the whole of the trade ecosystem have to be digitalized. That's where the most developed economy, the most efficient one in Asia are doing, like South Korea and Singapore. And if you go to that direction, you'll be able to create competitiveness in your private sector. Thank you.
Thank you. Competitiveness in the private sector. Let's close with that. Monsieur Laïch, je vous laisse le dernier mot. Que vous voulez dire quelque chose pour finir cette belle discussion qu'on vient d'avoir?
Merci de m'avoir donné cette possibilité de m'exprimer sur des sujets aussi importants que ce que nous venons de voir. Je vous dirais tout simplement, je vais vous dire le slogan de la CAGEX qui me paraît assez intéressant, qui colle donc à la réalité d'aujourd'hui. Mettez la CAGEX à vos côtés, le monde sera à votre portée.
Mettez la CAGEX à votre côté, le monde sera à votre portée. Allez, on finit avec ça. Merci beaucoup. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. Thank you to my dear panelists for your valuable insights. Let's have a photo together before we wrap up. Ladies and gentlemen, on appelle les photographes, s'il vous plaît, pour une photo du panel. Allez. Thank you, everybody, for your attention. Thank you. Thank you. So go ahead. Merci. Hop. Yes. Pour mesdames et messieurs les journalistes, veuillez rejoindre la salle de presse pour une conférence de presse de Monsieur Alp Topogoglou. D'accord? Merci.